Hey everyone, welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I am going to be speaking about probably the worst experience I've had as a freelance videographer. I'm going to be telling you about the time that a music artist refused to pay me $5,000 for a music video, and I didn't sue him. Roll the intro. Before I get into the actual story of this, I won't be sharing the artist's name. I definitely don't want to bash him or anything like that. I just mainly want to share this story of how I didn't get paid $5,000 for this music video as a precautionary tale for any freelance videographers or photographers who might be starting out. I hope you just learn from this and you can avoid the situation at all costs if possible. So the story really starts back in May of 2018. So one of my really good friends owns a clothing company, and I've been shooting for her for about 3 years now, and she was having a week-long pop-up at a hotel in downtown LA for her clothing line. It was like a little boutique that was like kind of outside of the lobby of this hotel, and I was there just making social media content for her, just recapping each of the days, getting people interacting with the clothing and her, things of that nature. So I was there daily, just with her, and through that I was able to meet a lot of really cool people who came through the store and just chopped it up with them. So that was a really cool experience. One of the days we had a musician come through, and he was in town from North Carolina. He was in town just for a couple of days. From what he said, he was just recording a couple songs. We spoke a little bit as well. We exchanged Instagrams, and he told me that whenever he was back in town, he was gonna hit me up and maybe shoot some content. I'm never gonna say no to an opportunity like that. If anyone wants to shoot and is interested in working with me, I'm more than happy to at least have a conversation with them. So I said yes, exchanged Instagram, and we kind of left it at that. Fast forward to a month later, now we're in June of 2018, he hits me up and lets me know that he's coming back into town for the BET Awards, and he has a new song that he's releasing soon that he wants to shoot a music video for. So I was completely down. I hadn't shot too many music videos at this point. I'm always really interested in exploring my creative boundaries and just learning new things, so I definitely hopped on the opportunity immediately. He seemed like a really cool dude. The song wasn't anything great, but it was, it was something that we could work with at the very minimum. So I immediately started getting the ball rolling. I hired one of my former high school students when I was a high school teacher here in Pasadena. I hired him to be one of my PAs. I hired two of my really good friends who literally shoot everything with me to be the lighting, the grips. So I brought them on board. And with the artists, I was emailing back and forth, sending different budgets, rates, and what we could include depending on the vision. We ultimately settled on $5,000. The music video was going to be shot in Malibu, California at sunrise. I kind of just paired the song with the location. I felt like it would be a really cool setting. If anyone's ever been in Malibu during the sunrise, the colors are just beautiful. I really wanted it to be a very soothing type of visual. A lot of earth tones, the mood board that I had sent him called for a lot of neutrals, and just for his outfit just to be something very clean, not too loud. And yeah, I in my mind it was panning out to be a pretty good music video. I sent him the contract, the client agreement that I have. If you don't have a client agreement or a contract, please draft one up. It's really important to have that just to protect yourself, just in case you're in a situation like mine. So I sent him the client agreement, and he signed it with his artist name, which will be a key point down the line. So remember, the artist's name was signed, not his legal name. He used his artist name, and he sent it back. I asked him if he could do a half deposit, 50% of the $5,000 total, just to help cover, initial expenses such as lighting or rental equipment, whatever it is. And he told me that his label and his company didn't pay until the first of the month. I think the shoot was closer to the end of the month, so he said once the first hit, he would be able to pay me. So me just kind of still being young in the game and being fresh, I said, yeah man, that's totally fine, let's just knock it out, and then we can kind of figure that out later, knowing in the back of my mind that he had already signed the client agreement. We have all the shoot sets. The shoot is set for a Friday morning, early call time around 6 a.m. And the night before, Thursday night, I figured it'd be a pretty good idea just to connect with him in person, since I hadn't seen him since I had originally met him at the pop-up. I was gonna bring one of my friends, Francisco, as well, who was doing my lighting, just so that he could meet him as well, since it was a pretty small crew. and he actually invited us to go to a BET party event the night before on a Thursday night. It was hosted by Rick Ross, and Waka Flocka was there, which is random. So we ended up meeting this guy. We're out in Hollywood. He's a chill dude. When we get there, you know, we went into it like we're gonna leave soon. Like we have to be in Malibu at 6 a.m. So we probably have to be up at like 4. So we were like, yeah, we're not gonna be here any later than 9 p.m. We just kind of just want to do a quick little intro and just, you know, catch up in person. So we show up to the event. You know, he's a little lit at this point. You know, it's a couple drinks in, and I don't know if I'm personally from LA. For anyone that lives in LA who may or may not be from here, you really come to see a lot of people's true characters and just their like ego and their personality. You know, a lot of people that come to LA come here and pretend to be something that they're not. I personally feel like I'm really good at reading past that, and you know, the person that I saw that night was not the person I met at the pop-up, and he just kind of had like a little bit of an attitude, ego to him. You know, we were in line waiting to get into this event, and the bouncer like wouldn't let us in, and then this guy, the artist that we were with, was like acting like he was a big deal, and he was like shocked that he wasn't getting in, and he was like showing off his like $1,000 pants or something. He was like, yo, do you know how much these pants cost? Whatever, that's besides the point. So it was just kind of already off to like a little bit of a shaky start. I just wasn't sure what to expect. But regardless, we get into this event one way or the other. We kind of just hang out with him for a little bit, but once 9 o'clock hits, we're like, all right, man, we're gonna head out. And I had told him that my PA was gonna pick him up at his Airbnb that he was staying at the next morning, so that he wouldn't have to worry about having to call an Uber, get out to Malibu, or worry about any of that. So, you know, next day, it's a Friday now, and I wake up super early. I go and pick up Francisco and his brother who are doing my lighting. We load up all the equipment. I'm on the phone with my PA, just making sure that he's up and that he's on his way to pick up the artist. You know, he texts me that he is, and you know, we're exchanging texts, and I'm waiting to hear back from the artist. He hasn't, you know, texted me anything. It's around probably like 5:30 at this point when the PA texts me, and mind you, we're supposed to meet at 6 in Malibu. The PA texts me at like 5:30, and he's like, hey, like I just picked the guy up. He showed up back from his night out like when I got there. Like he didn't even go to bed or anything like that, and he's like a little turnt. So I was like, oh man, this is like a very bad start to this. Me now at this point in my career, like I definitely at that moment like would have just canceled it immediately. Like he hadn't paid us anything, like we hadn't lost anything. So I think it would have been better to cancel it. But you know, the part of the freelancer in me who just kind of needed the money was like, you know, well, let's just try to figure this out as we go. So, you know, my PA brings him to Malibu. The guy naps the entire way over there, and he gets to Malibu, and you know, we're setting up on the beach and just trying to get everything figured out. And he's just like asleep. Like this man is just like hungover. Like he had a long night. He didn't go to sleep. He's just hungover, reeks of alcohol. His outfit is like a total mess. Like he just does not look good. He's wearing like this checkered shirt and some overalls, and he's like a little bit of a bigger dude. Like it's not flattering on him. He just looks like he hasn't slept, and it makes sense because he hadn't. You know, he had stayed up all night and gotten drunk. Just fine. I have nothing against that. But if you're gonna work early up the next morning, like you better be ready. And this man just wasn't. So we kind of were already like, this was just already like a worst case scenario. To add to that, there was no sunrise that morning. Malibu decided to be super foggy that day. It was still kind of moody, so I felt like it could work, but the vision that I had come into this with just was already quickly going away. And like I had mentioned in earlier, the treatment of the video called for just neutral colors, just a very clean look, and he just wasn't wearing that. Just wearing very loud like black and white checkered shirts, some weird overalls, and we're like on the beach, like it's just very earth tones, and it was just a very bad contrast. We decided to push forward with it. You know, he kind of wakes up, he's like, you know, getting himself together, and we go down to the beach and we start shooting this. And then this is where I noticed that I messed up. I had rented a couple of lenses for the shoot. I also had my own lenses that I was gonna bring, and I realized that I forgot my original lenses, which would have been very key for this video, to help get different perspectives. So I think I was stuck with like an 18mm wide lens, which is not anything that you want to be shooting your entire music video with. So I was just like, oh man, this is just like getting worse and worse. I kept it together. I didn't say anything about that. I was just gonna make it work regardless. So, you know, we're shooting the music video. It's going fairly okay. Like, the shots don't look terrible, but it's just not there. Like, it's not looking what we had envisioned. We shoot the whole thing. This man like sobers up finally by the end of the shoot at around 11 o'clock, 12 o'clock, and we have a wrap officially. So, you know, that was the shoot itself. That was the story behind that. You know, he ended up paying for our breakfast, which is really nice. Like, my lighting guys ended up ordering like 2 meals just to get their money's worth, because they've been in the industry a lot longer than me, and they were like, yeah, there's no way we're getting paid for this. And yeah, we really didn't get paid for it. So fast forward to like a couple weeks later, you know, I edited a first cut of the video. It was not great. It was not something that I wanted my name attached to. I'm positive if the artist saw it, it's not something that he would want his name attached to, just because he looked like crap. Like, he looked hungover. My lighting guys definitely didn't want to be associated with it, so it just was a very bad look overall. However, he, you know, we're talking via email now and via text, and he asks me like, hey, Saul, like, you know, I'm talking to my record label, and I know you had said that you worked with Khalid and Jaden Smith, but my label is saying that they've never heard of you. Like, can you tell me what videos you worked on? And I'm like, hold up, I don't remember ever telling you that I worked with Khalid or Jaden Smith. Like, I don't know where you got that from. You know, on my portfolio, like, I always show my work, and part of my process is creating conceptual music videos. So I had created a Khalid inspired video and a Jaden Smith inspired video as well that lived on my YouTube, that lived on my portfolio. Very clearly in the title and in the description, it says Jaden Smith inspired music video, Khalid inspired music video. Like, none of this says that I worked with him directly. The artists aren't in my music videos, so by no means was I falsely advertising, and he never brought that up either prior to this conversation. So at this point, I know what's coming. Like, I know he's gonna say like, oh, well, you know, my label doesn't want to put it out, yada yada yada. Like, I was already expecting that. You know, I'm asking for half of the payment. They're asking to see the edit, and I'm like, I'm not gonna send this to you until we get half of the deposit, which we had agreed upon. It's already way past the first. You know, I'd like my $2,500, and he had signed the agreement already. And, you know, we decided to hop on a phone call, and, you know, I explained to him like, hey man, I'm sorry if there was a misunderstanding, but like, I've never worked with these artists, nor have I said I have. I'm sorry if you mistakenly took it that way. And he was like, no, yeah, like, I understand, like, my label's just saying this, that, and the third. And I'm like, all right, man, well, I'm not gonna send you the edit, because we need to get paid for the work that we did. And you know, it's just you're not gonna get it regardless. Mind you, like, I really didn't even want to send him the edit because it was just bad. Like, he just looked bad. Him on the other end, he's like, yeah, like, you know, I respect you, you're just trying to be a good leader for your team, whatever. I'm like, all right, man, well, just keep me posted, let me know how it goes. And that was pretty much the end of our conversation. Yeah, like, I didn't follow up because I wasn't proud of the work that we had done. It just wasn't good, and I knew that wasn't going to be a good look for myself or the team, because I knew we were capable of more. And I just was kind of fed up with the situation, and I didn't really want to work with him. You know, I had told him that he signed an agreement which agreed to 50% of the deposit regardless of what happened. His excuse was that he used his artist name and not his legal name to sign that agreement, so it wasn't valid. I did my research, and you can still hold someone contractually obligated to something even if they use their artist name, which is called a pseudonym. A pseudonym is still legally binding. But I just, you know, for $5,000 and the effort that we put in, it just really wasn't worth it for me at the end of the day to like sue him and to go to court for something like that. Luckily, I was in a financial situation where I had some money saved up, and even though $5,000 would have been nice, it wasn't the end of the world. I was able to pay my PA out of pocket just for his time and effort, And then I was able to give my lighting guys a little bit of something on the side as well, just to help cover their expenses. And I kind of just took the L on this one, just because just going to court and suing someone who just wasn't even worth my time or energy, just like was not worth it for me, even though we did have a contract. Because at the end of the day, that just would have even created a more sour relationship with him, with that label, whoever they were, you know, if I might come across them down the line. You know, I just didn't want my name to be associated to a particularly negative experience. But yeah, after that phone call that I had with him, I quickly unfollowed him. He hit me up a couple times after that and was like, hey, like, I'm in LA doing this and this, and I was just like, always like, oh man, I'm sorry, I'm busy, like, I'm not trying to shoot with you, or like, I'm not trying to hang out with you, like, you just caused a really bad situation and you were extremely unprofessional, like, I'm just not trying to hang out with people like that. So yeah, it was just a really crazy learning experience. This was about like 6 months after I had gone like freelance, so it was clearly still learning the ropes. I did have a contract, you know, but I just wasn't proud of the footage, and I just figured that it just wasn't worth the energy or the time to put up with this guy. Like, it just wasn't worth it for me. But yeah, that's the story of how I lost out on $5,000 for a music video that we shot, and I didn't sue. Let me know if you have any sort of similar horror stories that you've kind of gone through. I feel like every freelance creator has one of these or two in their career. Really interested to hear what you think and your thoughts, and if you've gone through something similar. That's it for now. I'll see you guys next week, and I hope you stay safe out there. Bye.
I might just hit it through. That's on my element. I like dark skins, love a melanin, pushing the guitar when I'm stepping in.